Hello and welcome. For this practice, you won't need anything except for a really nice supportive seat. So as you can see, I am leaning up against this wall because it feels really nice and supportive for me. So I invite you, if you have a spot on the floor that feels really comfortable, to lean your back against the wall or a chair or sitting in a chair. Just kind of find a really comfortable, really grounded seat wherever you're at. And we are just going to be focusing on breath work today. Breath work is super important and super foundational in this type of work and this type of practice. So our breath connects us to our body and our emotions, and it helps us really get in tune with what's going on. So for today's breath work specifically, we are going to tune into connecting with yourself, with your physical body, and with your environment. So this breath work is really helpful if you're feeling particularly disconnected from yourself, your physical body, your environment, those around you. So this is a helpful practice to just reconnect and find some sort of footing within yourself. We're going to keep this practice very simple. We don't want to overstimulate and activate your nervous system in any way. So this is a very simple practice to just be and tune in. So wherever you're at, join me in a seat and we will get started. So I invite you to right away start to notice the palms of your hands, and can you start to connect with your physical body with the palms of your hands? So for you, maybe it feels most comfortable to just face them or place them on top of your legs, or maybe it feels most comfortable to place them on top of your chest. Just kind of notice where you can connect the palms of your hands to your physical body. And as you connect them to whatever part of your body they're connected to, just notice that sensation. So just start to notice the sensation of that feeling, just your palms being connected to your body. Maybe there's some warmth there. Maybe it feels particularly warm. Maybe it feels a little bit cooler. So I know for me, for example, my fingertips are really cool, but I'm noticing the sensation of my chest that's really warm. And so the feeling of the coolness of my hands and my fingertips touching my chest is what I'm experiencing. So just kind of notice what you're experiencing here. Maybe you notice the particular texture or feeling of your clothes. Maybe your hands are on a part of your body where your clothes are covering. Just kind of notice what that feels like. You don't have to stay in complete stillness here. If it feels more supportive for you, you can maybe rock side to side. You can just kind of find where you're able to settle in here. Maybe it's in complete stillness. Maybe you're finding that you're a little fidgety. That's okay. And then as you continue to tune in with your physical body, I invite you to start to notice your breath. So you're simply noticing your inhales and your exhales. You're not trying to change or modify. You're just noticing that sensation of automatically breathing in and automatically breathing out. Just kind of notice what happens in your physical body. Maybe you can start to notice that sensation, the rise and fall of your chest or your belly as you breathe in and breathe out. Option if your hands aren't already there, you can place one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, to just notice that subtle change and shift in movement as you breathe. Maybe you even place a hand over your heart space to notice the beat of your heart. And as you're sitting here, what comes up for you? Does it feel really hard to connect and be in the present moment? Do you feel completely disconnected from your body? And if so, how can you tune in just a little bit more to where you're at? So if you're feeling particularly disconnected, like literally feeling out of your body right now, maybe just start to notice where you're seated. So you can start to notice your sit bones. Maybe you're on the floor, maybe you're in a chair. Notice that connection of your seat to wherever you're seated on. So maybe it's a little bit harder of a surface. Maybe it's a little bit softer of a surface. Maybe it's cool, maybe it's warm. Start to notice that. And maybe you can ground down through your sit bones just a little bit more. And then maybe you can sit up just a little bit taller. Really allow your shoulders just to be heavy, just to completely let go. Try not to scrunch your shoulders up towards your ears. You're really wanting to ground everything down, noticing what that's like, trying to let go just a little bit in those places that may be a little bit tense here. And then maybe you return to your awareness around your breath. And maybe you just notice a little subtle shift here. So when you're inhaling, at the top of your inhale, there's a slight break before you then start to exhale. Can you notice that space between your inhales, that split second of a time between your inhale at the top of it and then before you start to exhale? So even if you're not holding your breath at the top, there's still a slight subtle pause between that inhale and that exhale. Can you just notice that space at the top, and then also notice that space at the bottom? So what is that moment right before you start to shift your lungs from that inhale to that exhale, and from that exhale back to that inhale? Just notice that slight moment, that slight pause, that space there. What does that feel like in your body? What does that look like maybe? And just start to notice that for a few more rounds of breath. And then maybe start to notice what the actual air feels like when you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose or your mouth, depending on where you're breathing in and out from. Notice the slight feeling of that air as it enters and exits your body. What does that feel like? Maybe it's cooler, maybe it's warmer. And if it's possible, maybe you can start to deepen your breath if you haven't already. So you're just inhaling for a few moments longer and exhaling for a few moments longer. Maybe it feels really grounding to inhale and exhale through your nose, or maybe it feels more grounding to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. So just focus on that sensation. Deepening your inhales and exhales just a little bit. Option here, if you need to find a little bit of movement in your body, you can take the palms of your hands and maybe start to just run them up and down your legs or your arms. Maybe just, again, reconnecting with your body here. Maybe you need to sway side to side. Again, this is a very simple practice in tuning in with yourself, giving yourself lots of time and space here. Maybe try to loosen a little bit more tension, maybe in your jaw, maybe in your shoulders. Notice where your mind is at. Notice how your body feels. Do you feel a little bit more connected to yourself? Maybe just for these last few moments here that we have, ask yourself, what do I need more of to further connect with myself? Maybe you need to just stay here for a few more minutes and really notice your breath and just continue to notice your breath. Maybe you need to continue to actually physically feel your body, maybe physically feel where you're seated. Maybe you even need to, as you continue to breathe, just look around the room and just notice what is in the physical space with you. What are you connected to? Where are you at? And how does your breath feel? And what comes up for you when you sit in stillness or wherever you're at, whatever you're doing? What comes up here? What do you need more or less of? And how can you continue to stay just a little bit more present with yourself as you continue throughout the rest of your day or the rest of your week? Maybe you just periodically take those palms of your hands, reconnect them with your body. Maybe you take 30 or 60 seconds just to focus in on your breath. So what are some simple, tangible things that you can take with you to help you continually refocus on yourself, reconnect, and come back into the present moment? And just a reminder, you can stay here for as long as you need. If you need to continue tuning in with your breath, if there's any other movement that you need to take here to reconnect with yourself, please take it. I am going to finish out my portion of practice with you. Again, this was a simpler practice, but it's really important to have times like this where you can just be and just reconnect, especially if you're feeling particularly dissociated and disconnected from yourself. So thank you as always for joining me, for showing up for your own growth, your own healing, and I will see you next time. If this video was helpful for you, I invite you to join me for live trauma-informed yoga classes, both online and locally at the Iris Embodiment Center. And as always, thank you so much for being here.